Welcome back, everyone, to LBS Response to episode number 124. This is my weekly Q&A series that are here on my channel. If your question is not answered in today's videos, be sure to leave it down below for next week. It is pretty crazy how outdated so many questions can get in a 2-week span because we actually have the entire 2024 summer, rumor leak list out. A lot of you guys were asking stuff about the summer, and now we pretty much know the full gist of everything. But if you guys have any questions regarding the actual summer sets, be sure to leave them down below for next episode. And then also, I really quickly want to ask if you guys could like this video and be sure you guys are subscribed. I know a lot of you guys just get my videos and recommended, and you guys aren't even subscribed. So we are on the road to 100K this year, so it would be appreciated. So starting off here, we have Dino David 5315. They say, ask LBS, what is your predictions for the order of new clone legions that we will be getting through 2024 and beyond? So I'm going to kind of keep this pretty simple. Probably do like a top 3 over the next like 5 years or so. So basically, my kind of like honest, like locked in predictions would be, all right, so for 2025, you guys have not checked out my video from yesterday, pretty much going over why I think that LEGO might not be celebrating anything for episode 3 next year, but I do, however, still think they're going to do some sets based off it. So I think in 2025, I think the 2 figures that I can see the most, first off would be a Kashyyyk Trooper, okay, the Kashyyyk Scout Trooper and Commander Gree. I think those are kind of like episode 3 staples, especially to LEGO. They've always had those sets out, and those minifigures out in ATAPs, droid gunships, and I just got a feeling, all right, they really seem to like those 2 vehicles, and kind of including those same like 6 or 7 different minifigures in there. And I don't doubt for a second maybe 2025 we might see that, but not necessarily branded under like a 20th anniversary logo, but just coming out for the sake of, it is 2025, give us a couple new clone troopers. So I do think Commander Gree and some Kashyyyk Scouts. And then also next year, I'm going to kind of just go out on a hunch. I do think that Wolfpack is in the play to do from LEGO. You know what I mean? I think with everything else they've come out with, Wolfpack is really that last clone to do like a 2020 style remake of, not a new Legion, just a remake of. Although I am a little worried when it comes down to, they've got a really nice design right on their helmet that is all connected, and as we've seen from recent years of printing, it seems like with the helmet holes or whatever reason they give, they can't really get that very precise printing anymore in the helmet. So I'm a little nervous on how that design would look on their helmets, but I do think Wolfpack next year, Commander Gree, Kashyyyk Scout, those are my predictions. And then one more prediction I'll make for 2030 for the actual 25th anniversary of episode 3. I do think that's where maybe we'll see like Commander Bly and like the 327th. I would love to say Galactic Marines, but quite frankly, I think Galactic Marines are probably my number one most I never think LEGO was going to do them. That's one of those things. Usually, look, I know, what leaks are true, what's coming from a reliable source, but I got a feeling, man, even if like Falcon fan, I believe this Dark Side Falcon and Jedi Bob Starfighter more so than if you would have said something about a Galactic Marine in the set, man. Like, I just can't ever see LEGO doing those. But yeah, those are kind of my 4 predictions for the next like 5 years. Of course, anything else can sprinkle in. I do think 2027 for the 25th anniversary of episode 2, we could see either a green, a blue, or a red clone, captain, sergeant, or lieutenant, to kind of go with the 2022 style commander, commander/pilot, and also the regular plane clone. But yeah, those are kind of my predictions. Leave your thoughts down below. What clone troopers do you think we'll be getting over the next 5 years? Next up, we have Wasting My Time Looking. They say, what are you thinking about another LEGO Death Star? I'm thinking that this year would be the time they renew it, but obviously nothing has been tossed around rumor-wise. So technically there is a Death Star rumor going around right now. So I wanted to kind of cover this and kind of just like clear the air because a lot of people are just calling it like the Death Star, Death Star playset. And I've seen a couple people on like TikTok, Reddit, Facebook, a couple of those groups. I mean, kind of just get confused. So I kind of want to just put this in here. There is technically a new Death Star in 2024. All right, but it's gonna just be that, $80, $100 playset. It's not going to be the actual entire, $400, $500, $600, UCS or MBS set. But yeah, so there is technically a new LEGO Death Star, but this one's going to be more aligned with like the Yavin 4 Rebel base and kind of just be like the counterpart play set for the Imperials in that regard. So no full-size Death Star this year, but honestly, I think if they were to do another Death Star, I've always kind of said this, I do think they would try to do some sort of mixture of the first and the second one, kind of maybe do a 50-50 down the middle, or go, Death Star 2, if anything. I think, of course, it's been longer since the first Death Star 2, but, that's not for 2024, no full-size ones, just that little playset one that will include a Cal Kestis as a 25th anniversary minifigure. Next up, we have Paul Bila right here. Ask LBS, what do you think about the possibility of a UCS-size Bo-Katan Gauntlet fighter would be, given its prevalence in Mando Season 3? Is that ship sailing? It's his personal favorite ship and be a dream. So, yeah, basically where I think they could be going with like a UCS Gauntlet fighter, not anytime soon, I don't think. I think, if anything, if you want to kind of pick from like the Mando-verse and, the Razor Crest, you guys know my thoughts on that. I think it was a couple years too late. I don't think it was necessarily something that needed like a $600, set of it. But, we got the UCS Razor Crest, and, that took about 3 years after the fact to, really actually get it, in hand. And again, it was too late. It was already blown up. I mean, you guys get what I'm saying. But basically for these other Mandoverse ships, the one I've seen coming out next, all right, because I feel like I think we can all agree there's like kind of different tiers the UCS sets. I think there's a handful of vehicles that, making a $240 kind of like May 4th slot, would suffice. There's also like another tier of like, all right, this vehicle is pretty prevalent, needs a little bit more scale to it. Maybe you make it $350 to like $500. And then there's also like that $600 to like $800 tier of like very notable vehicle. People are probably buying it just for the vehicle specifically because they really like that vehicle and they want a massive version of it. And, very recognizable to like basically any Lego Star Wars fan or Star Wars fan in general. But I think the Bo-Katan Gauntlet fighter probably falls into that $240 category. Let me know down below. What do you guys think? Do you think it would have to be bigger than that? But another set that falls into that $240 category is Mando's N1 Starfighter. And me personally, I would rather have Mando's N1 Starfighter, and I can see that happening before the Gauntlet in that 240 spot. And I don't know how much they're really going to do UCS-wise based off the Mandoverse. I mean, they can, of course, call the Gauntlet fighter from, like, Clone Wars if they really want, sure. But we all know that that's not going to be the case. If they're going to make it, it's going to be based off the Mandoverse, if she shows up in the new Dave Filoni movie, that type of stuff. But, yeah, so I think the ship is not necessarily sailing, but I don't even think the ship is really docked yet. I think until we see these movies, and if she plays a big part and that vehicle is like really like maybe the main form of transport for like kind of the whole crew, I don't think the ship is even docked. I think maybe 2028ish is like the earliest that we could even think about it. But I think a Mandalorian N1 Starfighter could happen before that. So next up here, we have Logan Wilt. He pretty much says, ask LBS, are there any vintage sets that you see as undervalued and expect to go up over the next few years? So this set is not per se vintage, okay, nor do I think it's going to necessarily go up in value. But I just wanted to kind of talk about this set because I made a post about this a couple of weeks ago, and I've been thinking this for a while. And it is actually the, let's see the set number here, 7754, the Home One Mon Calamari Star Cruiser. This came out in 2009. And, this retailed for $100. And, 15 years later for a OT, set, something that they've yet to ever redo, a couple, and, nice exclusive minifigures in there, you guys can still pick up a sealed one of this for like $170 on eBay. Sure, you got to pay shipping and tax. You're probably about $200 out the door, but that's only, double the value. All right, 15 years for a set like this, and limited edition. I don't know if this was exclusive to anywhere. I don't think it was exclusive to like Toys R Us, but it might have been. All right, but basically this was the Fans Choice Anniversary Edition and everything like that. And I've had a sealed copy in my collection for the past. I think I got it like 2014 Brick World Chicago. And again, value. It's not the end all be all for everything, but I got to be honest with you. I mean, I think even back in 2014, I might have paid maybe 140 or 150. And that just kind of goes to show, I mean, this thing, for some reason, just, people don't like it. I don't know. I think it's a nice little set. I think it does look a little dated to some regard, especially kind of the hangar bay. I think the actual little, the briefing area, looks better. But nonetheless, I mean, to pick this up for like $200 sealed, for 800 pieces, 6 minifigures, 15 years old, I got to be honest, this is one that I definitely feel like is, kind of subjectively undervalued. If you guys can think of another one, definitely let me know down below. Next up, we have Nuck Nick Knock right here. Which Lego set from the sequels that hasn't been made would you like the most to be made? So, me personally, I do like Kylo Ren. I think he's pretty much the only redeeming quality of any of those movies. Kylo Ren for me is a top 10 character. Absolutely love him, man. Adam Driver killed the character, did a really nice job. And with that being said, I think the Kylo Ren shuttle is one of those that I think does probably need somewhere between like a 350 to a 550 UCS version of it, and that's what I'm looking for the most, honestly. I think there's really no playsets I would want. The Star Killer base thing, that thing left the left the dock, literally 9 years ago. Basically once it blew up again, same thing. It's like, sure, you could make it after. You could argue the original Death Stars blew up 40 years prior to the Lego sets, but you get what I'm saying. There's just not a lot of relevance there to make like a Star Killer base. So quite frankly, I think a UCS Kylo Ren command shuttle in black, or a UCS Kylo Ren TIE silencer, man. Either of those. I think the TIE silencer could probably be 240, but the command shuttle 350-ish. Those are both my dream sequel sets. Then the last question for today, we have God Lowly Man. Ask LBS, with the leaks of the Desert Skiff and potential Jabba Sail Barge, how do you think they will portray Leia, if not at all? So I want to play a clip right here from the Hasbro Plus team. I think this was 2023, like Comic-Con or whatever, and someone asked him about it, and it's interesting, all right? This is the first time I've heard this, and it at least makes it seem like there's not like some Disney-wide, like hard ban on the character. Does that really necessarily confirm that we would get a Slave Leia ever again? Actually in the gold bikini with like no funny business going on. I'm not too sure, but it is nice to know that like apparently it's not some hard ban. So I will play the clip, and then that'll be the last thing before the outro of the video.
Obviously, when people see the throne and they see Jabba, they also think of Leia, Huttslayer Leia. You saw me earlier taking a photo with the action figure. People constantly think that she's off the table. Is there ever a possibility for her to come back into the line?
Yeah, I mean, perhaps there's no kind of ban on that. Okay. So it could happen in the future. We never comment on figures that aren't revealed.
All right, guys, that is everything for today's LB's Response To. Definitely be sure to leave your questions down below for next week. I love doing this series, and also be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know down below, am I the only one? I just got a box of Capri Suns earlier today from the store. These things do not taste the same as they did 14 years ago, man. I don't know. I understand these say there's like 50% less sugar in there, but wow, these things taste way different. What do they do to the Capri Suns, man? They're changing everything these days, man, making everything worse. But nonetheless, I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys, and stay safe.